Okay, so we got a new series that we're talking about. The series title is this. It is titled The Greatest Among You. The greatest among you. We are talking this month about greatness, what it looks like according to God. The greatest among you is going to be our series title, but the message specifically for today, and this is how we get into it, is what greatness looks like. So if I were to ask you right now, when you think of the word greatness, what are some of the things that you think of that comes with greatness? What do you think of? Say again? Okay, being blessed. What does being great bring? And in whatever words, like, I have one like power, favor. Wait a minute, y'all giving all these church answers now. Okay, so hold up. Power, status. Okay, perfect. There we go. All right, yeah. All right, what else? Money. What over here? What's that? Okay, all right, that one as well too. Influence. Great people have influence, don't they? Great people, what else do they have? They have responsibilities, they have leadership, they have recognition. Say again? Control, is that what you said? Okay, all right. And did somebody say compassion over here? Strength, they have these things. You got one, brother? Compassion, right. All right. They have accomplishments and unfortunately, being greatness also comes with value, doesn't it? There's a value about that. And this comes from something that we're taught. Greatness is something that we want. It's part of an identity that we want. How many people want to be average at anything? How many of you all want to be great at what you do? Few hands, some of you, well, if you don't want to be average and you don't want to be great, well, y'all don't want to be good at it, is that? We all want to be great, don't we? It's part of an identity. We want this greatness. And even in that, it can create a spirit of competitiveness, can it? Amongst other people, because for me to be great, I got to be better than you. What's the phrase say? The early bird gets the worm. My mom used to tell me that all the time when I was a kid. Sometimes I would say stuff I shouldn't because I always told her that the early worm was the one that got eaten. But the early bird gets the worm. Why? Because what she was trying to say during that time was that you work while other people are sleeping. You get up and do something while other people are not. Because if you want to be good at any particular thing, if you want to aspire to be great at it, you got to be willing to do things that somebody else will not do. And this thing right here is not just something that worldly people deal with. Y'all know believers deal with this same thing as well, right? And let me tell you something as well. The disciples dealt with this. So let me set the scene here because we're going to talk about what this looks like. There was a particular point in time, Jesus was having a conversation with the disciples. He told them the story that he said quite a few times, that he would be betrayed by the chief priests and the teachers, and he would be confirmed to death and handed over to the Gentiles. He even told them he would be mocked and spit on and flogged and beaten, hung up and everything. But although he would die, 3 days later, he would get up. And so right after the disciples heard this, there's a conversation that happens in Mark chapter 10, verse 35. And in Mark chapter 10, verse 35, right after Jesus said this, it says this right here. It says, then James and John, sons of Zebedee, they came to him. Teacher, they said, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. And Jesus says, well, what do you want me to do for you, he asked. Verse 37, they said, let one of us sit at your right and the other at your left in your glory. Y'all see what they just asked him? Now, y'all know when it says that Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father, right? Well, they're saying when you come into your glory, let one of us sit at your right hand and then the other one sit at your left hand. Do y'all understand how that looks? Yeah, can we be honest here? They were thinking about themselves, weren't they? They were thinking about opportunity and position. Because what had happened? They had been walking with Jesus for a while, right? They had seen miracles. They had seen the impossible happen. They had heard his teaching. They had been with him, and they had seen the importance in the people that follow Jesus. And they say, you know what? Here's an opportunity right here. Jesus, we want to sit at your right hand and your left hand when you come into glory. They weren't concerned about the kingdom at that moment. You know what they were concerned about? They were concerned about status. You're great, but we want to be great too. They were concerned about where they sit. And for the rest of time, when you see Jesus, they wanted you to see them. You see that, right? That's what they just asked. Let us sit at your right and at your left hand. And the thing to think about was that they were following Jesus. They were disciples. They were following Jesus, but they were still thinking about their seats. Let us sit at your right and at your left. Now, as I said, actually, I haven't said this yet. As I was reading this, I was thinking about this. And I just want to make this personal real quick. Because what happens is that many of you all are doing well in life. You're successful. You have influence and status. And you might have people around you who are following you who are also thinking about their seats. And I'm going to put this up here because I thought this was a little humorous, and maybe y'all will as well too. Many people around you might have a decent heart, but be careful of the ones looking out for their own seats. We in church, so I can't say what. Be careful of the ones trying to cover their own seats. Be careful of the people who are around you but only looking out for their own seats. That's our new word for today. Go home and tell somebody to sit their seat down. Be careful of the people trying to cover their own seats. But what does this teach us? What is what we're seeing here? What does it teach us? And so it teaches us this right here. The point number one is that the world connects greatness to position. You're great because of where you stand or where you sit. Who you sit next to, who you're in the room with. When they have the meetings, who's next to you? We see it in how the request was even asked. Let me ask you a question, y'all. Was it a selfish request? What y'all think? Absolutely, it was a selfish request. They thought they were special, and at this moment, they were being a little bit prideful. But this also happened a few times before, because in other books, in other chapters, it's telling you that they argued before, like who was the best. Which one of y'all the greatest? Y'all know it's me. Yeah, I saw what was happening, whatever, but I was the one holding the whatever. I did this and I did this. But James and John wanted to do more than just talk to the disciples about who was the best. They wanted to go to Jesus, and the first thing they said to him, we want you to do whatever we ask. And actually, if you read it in another book, they didn't go by themselves. They brought their poor mama with them. Come on, mama. Jesus, look at our mother. Look at her face. We want, for the sake of our mom, to be great. Can you do this? They were trying everything that they could, and to this day, people still do the same thing. Don't people look at the folks who are high up? As I said before, it gives you status, it gives you bragging rights. Being close to the quote-unquote boss means that you can be heard, doesn't it? When people come to see the boss and they see you sitting there, that gives you some type of air of status, doesn't it? It gets you seen, and it may get you favors, because if you're in the room with the boss, you can ask the boss things. James and John said, Jesus, we want you to do what we ask. They have access to be able to say things to the boss that other people can't say. And Jesus even confirms it when he talks about it, because what does he say? Right after they say something to him in Mark chapter 10, verse 42, Jesus actually brings them together, and he said, you know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles, they lord it over them. And their high officials exercise authority over them. What he's saying is that the people who have status, they tend to throw it around a bunch. Do you know who I am? I'm the pastor. I'm the bishop. You be careful how you address me. I'm the CEO. I'm the boss. You better be careful how you talk to me. But this is why people want it so much. Because the folks who got it act like it's something to be had. The notoriety, the paycheck, because I think somebody else said it here a little bit, with value, of the value or the greatness comes more money, right? And the ability to order somebody else around. The ability to be able to tell somebody else what to do. The world says this. The world says you're somebody if you have others under you. Well, you know, I'm the supervisor. I'm the manager. And Jesus says more. The folks who have the status are the ones that lord it over them, but he also says this in Mark 10:43, the very next sentence. He said, not so with you. Now, we can stop right there. Not so with you. They have a way that they do things, but not so with you. What he says is this: instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your. Whoever wants to be great among you must be your. Let's make sure we all saying the same thing. Whoever wants to be great among you must be your. Next verse. And whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. Verse 45 says, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Now, we've already gave you point one. I'm going to give you point two right now. Point two is this: Jesus connects service or greatness to service. There's a connection here, and it's connecting greatness to service. He responds and tells them, and here's the great part. There is a such thing as status. There is a such thing as status. There is a such thing as being great. It's nothing wrong for you to want to be great. Y'all hear me? We said it was a selfish request, but the reason it was selfish is not what y'all are thinking. It's okay to want to be great, but there is a difference between a worldly greatness and a godly greatness. Because Jesus said it himself, whoever wants to become great, if you want to be great, you got to be a servant. He wouldn't tell you that becoming a servant makes you great if being great was a bad thing. So it's okay to be great, but your understanding of it needs to change. There's a worldly greatness and there's a godly greatness. And Jesus is saying if you want to be great, you need to understand what the real definition is. It's not what you think it is. It's something else. There's another definition. Jesus changed or redefined the word. He says that there's nothing wrong with being great, but are you willing to do what is necessary to be great? Greatness is not about the luck of the draw or you just having the right things that happen at the right time. No, greatness is 100% up to you. And are you willing to do what is necessary to be great? Because what he says is that whoever wants to be great must be your servant. Putting it up very obvious for here is that if you want to be great, you have to serve others. Very few amen on that. But I read it the way that I read it so you can see what Jesus said himself. If you want to be great, what should you do? Now, is that not completely backwards from everything that we've been taught? Because if you want to be great, you're supposed to have people serve you. But Jesus says here, if you want to be great, you need to serve somebody else. Do you want to be the first? You need to help somebody else. Do you want importance in the kingdom that's to come? Do you want to be known in heaven? Do you want to make the best of your time while you're here on earth? Then be great. Be great. But how do you be great? The greatest among you will be the one willing to serve. So far what we got to here is 2 points. The first one was this, is that the world connects greatness to position. Your greatness is based on your position. The second one is that Jesus connects greatness to service. Doesn't matter what your position is, you serve somebody, that's how you achieve greatness. But now we go to point 3, because this point Jesus points out really well. And point 3 is this: Jesus didn't ask us to do something that he wouldn't. Says, oh, great, you want to be great, you need to serve somebody else. And Jesus is going to show you this right here. Because in the continuation of the conversation in Mark chapter 10, verse 45, he said, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. So let's look at that again. Jesus was God, right? He was the greatest, right? No one before him, and everybody else so far after them that they do not compare at all. Yet he said that he came to serve. Do y'all know what he called himself in this particular sentence right here? Even the Son of Man came to serve. The Son of the Father, yet he shows his importance to us or his service to us. And so in the same Son of Man, and John did this at the Passover feast while he was eating with the disciples. We know that Judas was y'all remember the story, right? They were eating the Passover. Judas was getting ready to betray him. But all before any of that, Jesus does something first. So let's look at the Passover feast real quick. In John chapter 13, verse 3, it said that Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. And verse 4 says, so he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, wrapped a towel around his waist. Verse 5, before he did anything else, he didn't go to casting out devils or demons or talk about how great he was or anything like that. He did this. He poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was around him. Verse 3 said Jesus knew. Actually, let's look at it one more time. Verse 3, please. Jesus knew that the Father had put what? Say it again. All things under his power, including everybody that was in that room at that time, right? Every single thing that you could imagine was put under his power at that time. He had all authority. He had all power. But what does he do with it? He begins to wash somebody else's feet. And he makes it to Simon Peter. Simon says, hold up. You going to wash my feet as well? Do you know who you are? You going to wash my feet? And in verse 7, Jesus replied to him. He said, you don't realize now what I'm doing, but later you'll get it. You're looking at me by who you perceive me to be. And because you perceive me to be a certain type of way, you think that I should not be doing this thing to you. But you don't understand what I'm doing right now, but later you will. In verse 13, John 13, verse 13, he says, you call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Verse 14, now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. In verse 15, here's the important part. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Verse 16, I tell you the truth that no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. In verse 17, now that you know these things, you'll be blessed if you do them. Jesus didn't talk about it. He did it. He didn't say, just listen to my words. He said, watch my actions. Because what kind of God would lower himself to create something and then go and serve the creation? But he set the example. And he showed how he defined it. Point here for everybody is that Jesus showed that even with all power, to be great means to serve somebody else. Say, well, I mean, that's a little beneath me, isn't it? It's a little diminishing for me, isn't it? For me to go do that for somebody else? You might see it as Jesus diminishing himself by washing his disciples' feet. But Jesus washing feet didn't diminish his greatness. His service demonstrated his greatness. Because what did he say beforehand? If you want to be great, you need to be willing to serve somebody else. And the greatest of all time, the GOAT that they will call it. We have all the GOAT conversations, but never once does somebody bring up the Lord of all, do they? And why is he great? Not based on how many points a game they have, but being willing to serve each and every individual person. You know, part of being great is realizing you don't have to do anything, but you do it anyway. Which brings us to point 4. We're almost done here. Point 4 is serving is love in action. Serving is love in action. What does serving look like? It's love in what? Let's say it again. Love in. All right. In Galatians chapter 5, verse 13, the New Century Version, it says, my brothers and sisters, God called you to be free. But don't use your freedom as an excuse to do what pleases your sinful self. Serve each other with love. God called us to be free, young. We are free today because of the service that the greatest of all time did for us. Let's not forget that. But now that we are free, we need to be following that exact same example to do it for somebody else. Instead of just trying to please us. Because that's what we do, isn't it? The greatness that we go for in life is for us to have status, for us to have the house, for us to have the car, for us to have the money and an inheritance to hand off to somebody else. Yeah, we want to be great, but the reasons are they're not the same reasons. Because Jesus says that you can be great, but the way you become great is to stop worrying about you and start serving somebody else. Stop thinking about the 4 walls of your house, so to speak, and those who live in it. Your children or your dogs and your cats and whatever other animals and your mice and rabbits or whatever. Start thinking about the person next door to you. Start thinking about the person who's sitting next to you in the seats right now. In love. Serve each other in love. Serve each other in love. Serve in what? In love. Because the Bible is telling us that the servants are supposed to do what? No, come on, say it with me. The servants are supposed to do what? You are not a servant if you don't do what? You can't have one without the other. If you are not serving, you are not a servant. Y'all think about it real quick. How all the servants serving but one? Or two, and they ain't gonna call them the greatest servant. You don't do nothing. You cannot be a servant if you are not serving. And when it comes to the body of Christ, let's think about, especially in his church, let's think about all of the different ways that people serve. Because when we came in here this morning, somebody had to greet and welcome you. Somebody had to encourage you. Somebody has to teach you. Somebody has to teach your children. Somebody has to clean and prepare the room for you. Some of you might be saying, well, the room ain't that clean. Well, you know what? They need help. Well, the people who greeted me this morning weren't all that nice. You know what? They need help. But not only do people have to clean the room up for you, guess what? When you leave, they got to clean up after you. You have people that you may not even notice it right now are working behind the scenes to help you get the best experience, to where God can make ways for you. When you look at the individual pieces of a Sunday morning service, you don't even know all of the ways that people have served for you. Church starts at 9:30. Some of y'all think it starts at 10. But guess what? The folks who serve don't get here at 9:30. Oh, they're hollering. Y'all hear them? Some of them get here hours before you do to set the room up for you. And when I say not just hours, some of them start days before today to prepare something for you. You want to know what a servant looks like? It's sometimes even the folks who do that, because I could call out everybody, but I know I would miss some. But guess what? They're not serving for you. They're serving for him. And although we might sometimes miss it or don't even know the folks who were doing these things for you, guess what? God knows, because they are serving to be the greatest. They are setting themselves up to be great, not only right now, but in heaven, because regardless to what you do, regardless to what you say, however smile or frown you give them, they're going to be here serving for you. Jesus washed the feet of the man who would betray him and send him to the cross. The greatest of all time is a servant. What are these people who are doing that we don't even know about? They are following in his example. So again, just as a reminder here, as we're almost done, point 3, Jesus didn't ask for us to do something that he wouldn't. He did the exact same thing that he asked us to do. Point 4, serving is love in action. Here's point 5, final one right here. Following Jesus means you eventually have to get out of your seat. Following Jesus means you eventually have to get out of your seat. There is a time and a place for everything. Somebody say time and place. For everything. There is a time when we should learn. Y'all hear me? There is a time when we should show up, receive the word, and build ourselves up. There is a time that we should sit. There is a time that we should worship. There's a time that we should grow and elevate. But that's not all we're here for. Because there's a time to give back. There is a time to serve. There is a time to be the example that Christ set for you. What the Lord put in us should show in the actions that we have with other people. Jesus said that he showed us an example, and that example was washing somebody else's feet. He said, now that I've served you, you should serve others. But as all he did was wash their feet. Do y'all really know the type of service that the Lord did for you? He who had no sin became sin for somebody else. For you. For me. And no greater love than a man would lay down his life. But not just a man would lay down his life. An innocent man would lay down his life. Tell me, is that not an act of service? One of the things that I think about with love and Christ's love for us and how it shows, don't y'all know it would have been much easier, especially with God's power, it would have been much easier just to wipe the board clean and start over. Don't y'all get that? The world got so bad. You know what? Let's just turn the thing over and start over. But he said, no, I love this thing so much. I love you so much. I love you so much that I'm not finna let you die even though you did it. And the greatest of all time has to show himself as the greatest servant. That thing that you're carrying that was keeping you from him. He went to the cross and came to you and said, you know what you're holding right now? Let me have it. That weight, that baggage, that thing that is keeping you out of heaven. The Lord said, you know what? Let me have that. Somebody got to pay for it, but guess what? It won't be you today. And that same God said, this example is what I'm trying to show for somebody else. The Lord is not asking you to die for anybody. He's just asking you to serve. Now that I have served you, you should serve others. If we think about the things that we have, how much of that stuff are we owed? We're not owed anything. Everything that we have is a gift. And as I just said, even the salvation that we hold so close to us, it was a gift to us, but it cost somebody else. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19 and 20, I'll just say this and we can get close to ending here. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, 19, 20. We don't have to put it up here. It says that you are not your own. You were bought with a price. You are not your own. You were bought with a price. But it doesn't just say that. What it says is because you were bought with a price, therefore honor God with your body. Give God something back for everything that he gave to you. And in this example, and what we're talking about this month is only talking about serving somebody else. So here's our closing right here. We got 5 points. I'm going to give them to you one more time. Point number 1 is this. The world connects greatness to position. The world connects greatness to position. Point number 2 is this. Jesus connects greatness to service. You are not of the world, so you should not be thinking like the world thinks. Jesus says, if you want to be great, I'm going to tell you how to do it. The first thing is to stop thinking about what it is you see and start listening and looking at the example that you've been shown. Point number 3, Jesus didn't ask us to do something that he would not. Point number 4 is serving is love in action. Y'all know serving is an action, right? It's not just an attitude of the heart. I serve in my heart. What's that even mean? I'm just waiting on the right moment to get involved in my ministry. The right moment was yesterday. The right moment was the moment you became part of the body of Christ. Well, I like to just sit, get my word, and go home. A servant has to give service. If you are not serving, you are not a servant. Jesus said, now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. I'm sorry, y'all. I've set y'all up. Because now that you know, you got a choice to make. Am I going to be blessed or am I going to be in rebellion? Well, I tried serving, but them folks was nasty. I ain't like the way they talk to me. You better find someplace else, because a servant has to serve. If that place is not for you, you better find somebody somewhere else. You can't sit down on what the Lord told you to do just because you ain't like who was in charge. If a tree is known by the fruit that it bears, then that means that a servant should be known by the service they do. Every time we talk about trees and fruit and bearing and stuff like that, an apple tree can never declare itself an orange tree when all it has is apples. And a tree cannot declare itself as an apple tree if it's never given any fruit at all. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I don't care what the tree says. You can't call yourself an apple tree if you've never given fruit. I don't care what you want to be. If you've never given fruit, you can't say that you are an apple tree. Well, I gave fruit before, but it's been 10 years. If you haven't given fruit in 10 years, that tree is no good, is it? There is no fruit to be gathered from that tree. If y'all had a vineyard, a garden with an apple tree that hadn't given fruit in 10 years, it's taking up space in your garden, isn't it? Y'all gonna let it stay there just because it has tenure? You gonna let it stay there just because, I like that particular tree? It gave some good apples 10 years ago. No, you're gonna move that one to make room for the next one. If a tree is known by the fruit, maybe the question we should ask is that you a believer? Where do you serve? Bishop said watch it, so let me slow down. I'm not trying to step on toes, y'all. But I do believe that a serving church is a church where lives are changed. Where everybody's putting back what they had, lives are changed. So, Jesus said that serving is love in action. So here's what I have. I have a ministry fair challenge, because what we have today, we are starting this month with a ministry fair. It's been a couple years since we talked about this, and we're back on it today. We have put together a ministry fair for you this month. Each week this month, we're going to have a different set of ministries that have tables outside. I said it just a moment ago, and I'm going to say it again. And if they didn't put it on the board, they can. I might have jumped it a little bit. But a church where people serve is a church where lives are changed. No matter how big you think you are in the kingdom, if you're not serving someplace, at best is average. You are not on the way to greatness. But how many of us want to be great? Let's find a place with the things that we can do. Look at what God has put in us and see how we can give that to somebody else. So I'm asking everybody to visit the tables. We got a few of them out here today. Talk to the people there. Find out what that ministry does. What are the types of people that they serve? What type of help do they need? And most importantly, ask yourself, can this be a place where I can serve? If you see something that interests you, something that speaks to you, that connects with you, sign up. Don't wait till the end of the month, because the tables out there next week are going to be different than the ones that are out here now. If you go out there right now and see something and the Lord says, that's it, do it today. We've got to do more than what we're doing right now. Point number 5, again, as I said, following Jesus means you eventually have to get out of your seat. The ministries, the opportunities that are out there right now you might be the person that they need today. So here it is. So see it, consider it, and then step into it.